Turn it around to the reverse side, where you see the two great seals of the United States of America.
Yep.
Okay? Now, if you notice, it says those are supposed to be the two great seals of the United States of America, correct?
Yep.
Those aren't. Those are the two seals of the Order of the Illuminati. Now, I have all this memorized from my days in the Illuminati.
Now, this went on the dollar bill in 1935, but this reflects ancient beliefs of secret societies that go back literally before the birth of Christ. It symbolizes the ancient goal of secret societies of the establishment of what in Scripture we see in Revelation 13 as the reign of the beast and the false prophet.
History of the Great Seal is a very fascinating story. I got one right here. The Great Seal of the United States, or is it the Great Seal of the Illuminati? There's a lot more than meets the eye.
The Last Outpost, Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern.
And welcome everybody to The Last Outpost here on TruthRadioShow.com and on our YouTube channel. So what is going on, everybody? Saturday night here at 11 p.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. So yeah, we're going to do a little special broadcast tonight. So we're going to get to some biblical stuff after the presentation. But I want to talk about today, what happened today in Rhode Island. A few hours ago, there was a shooting, school shooting at a college here in Rhode Island. We'll call Brown University. So, of course, I mean, it's disgusting because right away people blame the guns. They blame gun rights, the Second Amendment. They think it's up for vote and all that. And it ticks me off, you know what I mean? And the people don't understand it's gun control that kills people. You know what I mean? So we're going to get right into this stuff here. Just waiting for some people more to join in here. Hey, what's up, Brother Bill, for moderating the chat tonight and all that. So we're going to give you like a little civics education. This is not coming from a Republican point of view, Democratic point of view. I'm an independent constitutionalist. So it's coming from the constitutional and the biblical point of view. So before we get started, you know what I mean? Like that prayers, I mean, sorry, we'll start with a prayer, yeah. Biblical rights, you have a right to defend yourself. Because if you didn't, Israel would have never been a nation. You know what I mean? I just try to put my words together here because there's so much stuff going on. So Israel would have never been a nation at all. You know what I mean? If you didn't have a right to defend yourself. And people say, oh, that was swords and stones. But here's the reality of it, right? When David slayed Goliath, right, he would have used a sling. He used a projectile, a stone, to kill Goliath. What's the difference between a stone and a bullet? They're both the same thing. They're minerals from the earth. That projectile was a projectile to kill something. And in most cases, too, a sling could, is very powerful. You know what I mean? Almost powerful as some small handguns. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they're both used to push a projectile out to kill an object. That's what it's about. So, in the Bible, it talks about this stuff, you know what I mean? Right to protect yourself. And yeah, we're not supposed to murder people. We're not supposed to do anything like that. But Bible says that wars will be fought, and God's people many times. Look at Joshua, God's greatest general. How many times did they go to war, people? How many times did they go kill off Nephilim kings and everything else, right? Yeah, so if anybody tells you, oh, because I get that all the time, oh, you're a Christian, and you support gun rights, that's not a Christian of you. Yeah, it is very Christian of us. Because this country is built on God, guns, and guts, plain and simple, like the shirt says. It's exactly what this country was built on. God, guns, and guts made America free. You know what I mean? That's exactly the Second Amendment. You know what I mean? That's what keeps this country free. The military don't keep us free. The police don't keep us free. It's us, the American citizens who have guns, keep us free. Because if you look at the history, right, only reason why Japan did not push a land invasion here, you go look in history books, Because they said behind every blade of grass, there's a citizen with a gun. If we didn't have gun rights right now, guys, this country would be swarmed by Islam. We have already been taken over months ago, easily. Gun rights is what keeps this country free. And if we didn't have gun rights, man, these terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and all, they would have easily come in here and destroyed us. Because they know people have guns. And now more than ever, since World War II, we have, it's through the roof. People buying guns through the roof, wrecking the high numbers. And because of these mass shootings, people go out and buy more because they feel safe, protecting themselves. But you got, again, I'm a constitutionalist independent, but you got the liberals, okay? These people love nothing more to exploit debts of poor kids to go push gun control. The very gun control that get them killed in the first place. So we're going to go through some civics, some news and everything that shows what's going on around. So a quick prayer here. So Jesus, yes, you're Messiah. We love you so much and thank you for everything. And we ask you to forgive us all of our individual sins we committed today, any abominations or anything like that. We ask you to forgive us once again and just anoint us with your precious blood. And Father, we pray to you, and we send special prayers to the family and the victims, the families and victims of the shooting today. And Lord, we pray for justice, and also at the same time, that these people don't exploit dead people just to push stuff that is unconstitutional and to get us innocent people killed. So we love you so much, Father. We thank you for everything, and amen. So usually we talk, strictly biblical stuff here, but tonight we just go to a little bit of news stuff. Then we'll get to the biblical stuff and all that stuff. So yeah, let's get into the news here. So as if you don't know already, which is not too far from me. I would have been there because I wanted to go to the press conference, but I went to the gym. I didn't get to go yesterday, so I had to go today. And so I was getting out. I'm like in my car. I'm full of chalk. I got sweat everywhere. Didn't even have my camera or nothing. And they said the press conference was starting in 2 hours, and I learned what it was about, but I would have never made it there in time. But I wanted to go there to confront the governor on national TV and the mayor, because these people are responsible for this. You know what I mean? Every time there's a gun death, it's people who advocate for gun control. Moms Demand Action, every town, Giffords and all these other organizations, these communist organizations. They're the ones responsible for these gun deaths. Because what happens, people say, why do you think that? Because when you take gun rights away, people like us, right, we can't carry guns in the street without a permit. And if you live here around, it's like pulling teeth to get a permit. And the thing is, your Constitution is your permit. You shouldn't have to have a permit to exercise a first-class right. The Second Amendment is not a second-class right. It's a first-class right. And what's next? A permit on free speech? You know what I mean? We're going to get through the civics part and everything else, but I just wanted to hang on 1 second. And yeah, these people are responsible for this stuff. The Sandy Hook Promise people, the Violence Policy Center, Grandmothers Against Guns, Giffords, Moms Demand Actions for Guns, Brady Campaign, Every Town for Gun Safety, Coalition to Stop Gun Violence, and United Against Guns. These people, there's 9 more. March for Our Lives, Gun Owners of America. Well, no. No, the Gun Owners of America is a pro-gun. I don't know why they put that there. So yeah, these Gun Owners of America and NRA, they fight for gun rights. And it's just these clowns up here. You know what I mean? So let me move that. These are the culprits, yeah. They're the ones who go advocate and they exploit dead kids to push gun control. The ones who got them killed in the first place. So this was going on in the news. Let me refresh this just in case. So 2 people killed and 8 injured in the Brown University shooting and no suspect in custody. Some people say they got one, but yeah, I think it's more than one person. So manhunt continues after 2 killed and 9 injured at U.S. University school shooting. That's Brown University. It's in Providence, Rhode Island, which is not too far from here. And yeah, it's crazy. So they're still looking for the shooter or shooters. So at first they said 20 people were shot. I mean, they keep changing the numbers. So I guess 2 are confirmed killed right now, and 8 of them are injured. And this one says 9. So some people saying 20. We don't know. You know what I mean? It's like that all the time. So this will constantly update until they get a good figure. So I was watching the press conference. I should have been there. I really should have, because I would have confronted these people. So this clown talking with the glasses, that's the mayor of Providence, Brett Smiley. This guy in the background, right, he's one of our congressmen. Gabe something, I don't care to even know his name. And this doofus in the background with the white hair, that's our Governor Daniel McKee. All right, these people should be the last people in the world to handle crises. But because right away, this guy Gabe, right away on his Facebook page calling for gun control. This guy here, he pushes gun control. He signed an assault weapons ban bill, and last year was a magazine bill. So I'm hoping and praying the Supreme Court overrules these things coming next year. This year, yeah, whatever. So anyway, these people love nothing more to cash in on crisis. You know what I mean? That's how they are. So they'll come, they'll be all sympathizing at this one, right? And then they'll come out tomorrow calling, oh, this is why we need to push stricter gun rules. So if anybody knows anything about Providence, Rhode Island, Providence has got very strict gun laws. Not anybody can just walk around with a gun. Again, to even get a permit, you got to pull teeth to get a permit. Then even with the permit, you're restricted to what you could carry. So the average folk out there who are walking around, they can't protect themselves. Sure, you can have a gun at home and all that, but walking around the streets, going to restaurants, you can't have a gun in Rhode Island. Even with a permit, some places they give you a problem. So what does that mean? So it disarms us. I can't protect myself on the street. But a criminal, you think they go apply for permits? You think they follow any laws? No, they don't. They know that. It's not about control. It's not about safety at all. It's about control. That's what it's about. These people want control. They want your guns, and it's a communist agenda. And prayers, guys, for these people in Providence, these students. 2 dead and 9 or 10, whatever, that got shot and injured, whatever the case. So they don't know the full numbers yet, but still. And it's a shame that these people exploit dead kids to push communist gun control. Gun control is basically the government controls you, what you can and can't own, what you can and can't carry, again, it's the Second Amendment. So people don't realize the Second Amendment's right here, in the screen here. Second Amendment is not a second-class right. It's not up for vote. And people don't understand. They say, it's an amendment. It could be tweaked. No, it can't. And not the first 10, because people don't understand. Yes, there's like 26 amendments, but the first 10 are called the Bill of Rights. So this is where people fail. That's why they took civics out of school. So, and if you're old enough to remember having civics in school, they would explain the Constitution to you, the Bill of Rights and everything else, right? And the documents and all about it. Now, modern days, they don't even have it anymore in most states. Because now you can tell a kid, the gun rights are only for National Guard. That's one of the rhetoric things, which is not. And kids will believe it because they don't know it. And every time you see the news, they'll never pop this up here. They'll never pop this graphic up there when they talk about guns. No, that's right from the Constitution. You go to the U.S. Congress, Library of Congress, you'll see it right there. Or read the Constitution itself, the Bill of Rights. So the Bill of Rights was, the first was the Constitution. Then a couple years later, the Bill of Rights were written by James Madison. So James Madison wrote the Bill of Rights in September of 1789. And it took them 2 years to tweak them, to approve them. So the Bill of Rights consists of amendments 1 through 10. So they were approved September of 1891, 2 years later. They were approved and became part of the Constitution. So the Bill of Rights is amendments 1 through 10. That's it. 1 through 10. And so basically the Bill of Rights, we're going to show you what James Madison said, right? The Bill of Rights, the government can't touch. So this is government here, right? The Bill of Rights are up here. It's to keep, that's why it starts off the Constitution. We the people. It keeps the people in power. Government can't touch the Second Amendment with its 10th pole. That's why for 200 years, about the last 100 years, communists have been trying to touch it, but every time the Supreme Court goes, no, you can't do that. It's a constitutional right. It's not up for vote. Even states have been doing it. It's unconstitutional. And thank God the Supreme Court's finally got to weigh in on this. They're doing it in the next few months. They're going to put an end to this crap, hopefully. Because, here's the thing, right? And you might not like guns. It's your right not to like guns. You might not want to have a gun. Yeah, that's cool too. But to infringe on anybody else's gun rights, to put our lives in safe jeopardy, to be at the mercy of a shooter, I don't think so. So if just say you all for gun control, right? I lived next door to you, right? And my house is fully armed. Everybody in my house knows how to shoot. Your house, no guns at all, right? So these people, armed thugs break into your house, right? Home invade you, right? What are you going to do? You're going to call 911? You'd be lucky to call 911. The national average time response time for 911 is like 11 minutes. If you're lucky to call them. And in that time, they could do whatever they want you in 11 minutes. So you'd be at the mercy of a shooter. People like us who are heavily armed, we ain't going to be at no mercy to nobody. They're the ones going to be at the mercy to us. You know what I mean? And it's like a bank. This is common sense stuff. If you have Bank A and Bank B, Bank A, heavily armed. You got armed guards, armed patrons, armed tellers, armed manager. Bank B across the street, there's no armed at all. Nobody's armed in there. What do you think the criminal's going to go choose? And if they're stupid enough to go to Bank A, they're going to get shot even before you pull their gun out. Bank B, or they'll have their way. They can shoot people. Nobody can stop them. They'll rob everybody and get away with it. So it's common sense. And I always, when I go to these gun legislation hearings in the State House, I advocate for gun rights. And I ask these politicians these things, they can't answer. They'll beat around the bush. They can't answer any of these questions at all because they know they're wrong. You know what I mean? And again, the Second Amendment is for the people. You know what I mean? We're going to get to the breakdown of the Second Amendment because there's two parts to the Second Amendment. You know what I mean? One, for the people to form a militia. Now, there's the thing with the militias. And militias, back then, the militia is you. It's not the National Guard. It's not the military or the police. It's you, the average citizen. And even JFK quoted about that citizens need to have militias. JFK, the JFK Democrats were pro-gun all the way. It was for a short span that there were good Democrats in this country who believed in gun rights. They were anti-abortion, things like that. They called them the JFK Democrats. Today, they would be called, they'd probably be labeled far-right people, whatever, today. But it's crazy, right? So let's get into some of these things here. So let's go break down here on the Second Amendment. So I'm going to tell you who's to blame for these mass shootings. And but we're going to break down what the Second Amendment is. Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So two parts to it, right? So we're going to break the Second Amendment down. This is by James Madison. When he wrote the Second Amendment, and of course he had to explain every line before Congress, explains the details and the meanings and everything in the bill, right, to ratify these 10 amendments. So when it came to the Second Amendment, and again, it was ratified in September of 1791. So the Second Amendment, right, when he talks about the well-regulated militia, he explained what that is. Say a militia, when properly formed, are in fact the people themselves, whose ability to act in both personal and common defense must be well maintained. Now, here in Rhode Island, right, when Rhode Island was established by Roger Williams, there was a law in the state of Rhode Island. If you were male, 16 years old and older, by law, you had to carry a gun on you at all times, just in case the British invaded. Well, Rhode Island was like the first rebel state that, we didn't take crap from nobody. Yeah, and that's how it was all over the country. You didn't need a permit to carry a gun. Hundreds of years, people walked around, and we even brought a gun to school, put it in their locker, nobody cared. They didn't even have to lock it. They taught gun safety classes and everything. And now today, it's all discombobulated. So the second part, being necessary to the security of a free state. To be secure in your liberty, your personal liberty, in the state of being free, in the governance of a free people. The state securing the rights of a free people. And the right of the people. The whole of the people, an individual right, independent of government. So this right is independent of government. The government doesn't give you this right. They try to take this right, but they can't. It's set above the reach of government. And James Madison said these are God-given rights. Inalienable God-given rights endowed to us by our Creator. So to keep and bear arms, to own and carry, people say, well, you can't have a military-grade weapon. Yeah, we can. Any gun that exists today falls under the Constitution. Because it says to only carry arms of whatever type necessary to effectively provide for personal defense and defense against tyranny. So the gun rights here is not just for criminals coming in your house. The number one reason for the Second Amendment is to protect us, for we the people, to be able to protect ourselves against our own government. If our government ever went rogue, we have the power, authorized by the Declaration of Independence, the second paragraph, we have the power and authority, and the power now with the Second Amendment, to overthrow the government if we don't like what they're doing, and they become tyrannical. And any kind, if you want to order an AR-15, or M16, an M5, whatever, it's your constitutional right to own it. No way in hell should a military have better firearms than you. You should be able to have the same kind of firearms as them because it prevents a government tyranny and takeover. That's how it was back then, and it's how it's always supposed to be. Because if you have a citizenry that's more armed than the government, you have a free country. And we are more armed than the government. Here's the thing. Everybody brags about China, right? What are you going to do against the U.S. Army? What are you going to do against China's 2 million man army? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. You know how many gun owners are in this country? Citizens? About 70 to 80 million gun owners. Probably more than that now. So you're going on almost 90 million gun owners in this country. Name one army in the world that could take them down. None. So if you put all the armies in the world together, including ours, you're going to get about maybe 40-something million people. That's it. You don't have an army in this planet. If the United States people here are united together, there's not an army in the world, okay, that can stop the U.S. citizens. That's the way it's supposed to be. The people are supposed to outnumber and outpower their own government to keep liberty, and it keeps the fear of God into them. And shall not be infringed, shall not be limited, regulated, federally excessively taxed, or encroached upon in any manner. So, no, the government has no right to tell you or a state, you can't own more than 10 rounds in your magazine. You can't have an M16. You can't have that double-action shotgun. Well, I'll have what I want and when I want. How's that sound? Because it's my constitutional right to do that. And that's why the Supreme Court's ruling on the stuff over the next couple months here. So, because it's enough is enough, man. And again, nobody wants death. Nobody wants Wild West, whatever the case. But common sense will tell you, man, who's going to go rob somebody? If you know you got a couple walking down the street, right? And you're a criminal, right? And you're like, I want to go mug somebody. Knowing damn well that one of them or both of them are armed, are you going to go rob them? And you're risking your life to do that if you do want to do that. It was Detroit years ago. The carjackings were through the roof. The attorney general at the time was giving permits to the woman, and the carjackings plummeted. Because now crooks are like, oh man, if I rob that car, they're going to shoot me. And they were shooting criminals. Then, of course, they revoked the permits and all that, and went right back to normal again. The carjackings through the roof and everything else. And here's where the anti-gunners will goad you, right? They'll say, oh, it's by the state. No, it's never by the state. Don't fall for that. It's by the city. So you got Florida, right? Great gun laws down there. But there's gun deaths on the record because of Miami. Miami's a liberal town. You got Texas, right? A conservative, red state, right? Now it's like, oh, Texas has got bad shootings there because of Dallas. Dallas is a complete liberal area. You got Illinois, right? If you remove Chicago out of Illinois will be a beautiful state. Because Chicago is run by deep liberals, these are far left people, you can't even own a gun in Chicago. But gangbangers are shooting people up every day. And there's mass shootings, guys. Let me see, go to this website real quick. Every weekend, right? This is Chicago on the weekend makes mass shootings look like a walk in a park. This is called Hey Jackass. It illustrates Chicago's gun values. But in December here, 27 shot and wounded, 34 people shot, 7 homicides, 7 killed just in this month alone. And yet to date, this is from January 1st to now in Chicago. And you got to ask yourself, why don't we hear about this in the news? 1,875 people shot in Chicago. 444 homicides. 348 people died from getting shot in Chicago. But you got, 5 or 10 people or 2 people here in Rhode Island are shot, which is bad. It's all over the news. First school shooting in history of Rhode Island. It's not a coincidence because when they started pushing stricter gun laws, criminals started coming around here in Rhode Island. Before, when we didn't have these strict gun laws, we didn't have these crimes. But look, right there. How come the media you don't hear that on Fox or CNN? 348 people killed in 1 year in Chicago by guns. Criminals using guns. And meanwhile, the mom who has no husband, whatever, and she has to worry about her kids getting shot. She can't carry a gun. If she gets caught carrying a gun, she goes to jail. she has to apply for a permit and she won't get it. But criminals are riding around with guns and everything else. 30 around magazines and all that, they don't follow restrictions. That's the reality of this, you know what I mean? And so that's what that means right there. And so, on pop-ups. So Thomas Paine, right, he's the one who drafted the Declaration of Independence, we the people. So he says about the Second Amendment, arms like laws discourage and keep the invader, the plunderer in awe, and preserve order in the world as well as property. So some quotes by the Founding Fathers. And before you get to that too, just take a look at this, right? These are the shoes of the 6 million Jews. I don't know, there's probably not 6 million there, but the 6 million Jews were massacred in the 1900s by the Nazis. Now, check this out for a minute, right? Yeah, this is ridiculous. It really is. So, 6 million is a lot, yeah. But 6 million versus a handful of Nazis. Probably thousands. That's it. It was only thousands of Nazis, right? So, millions of people died. Not just Germans, so German citizens, people from other countries died by Nazis, but died by Pol Pot, Stalin, all these dictators, right? And they told the people, if you give up your gun rights, we will keep you safe. And people, all right, let's do it. And they were staging shootings there, just like they're doing today. And they gave up their gun rights, and literally overnight, they were massacring their own people. It wasn't just Jews. German citizens were in those camps too. So next time somebody asks you about gun control, it's like, well, how did it work out for them in the 1900s? Over 500 million, with a B, 500 million people died because of gun control. I interviewed years ago. I wish I could find that interview. This lady from South Africa. She was on my show. She was in tears. She was trying to warn Americans, don't go for gun control because they pushed it in South Africa. She literally watched a family get killed by their own government. They're like, oh, we'll keep you safe. They give up the arms. Next thing, government's coming through villages, gunning people down. She had to literally lay under the body, her dead mother's body, until they went away so she could get away. You know what I mean? And she said all the countries in Africa that were giving up guns and all this other stuff, the governments would come in to slaughter in the villages. And if it was a working person, they captured them, they put them on the slave trades. And it's still going on in these countries now. They'll come in, a bunch of machine guns, and nobody can stop them. Oh, it keeps doing that. Nobody can stop them. You know what I mean? So that's where gun control gets you. You know, in Poland, Communist Russia at the time, Cuba, Germany definitely. All these countries that push these gun control laws, right? Yeah. What happened to them? Gone. You know what I mean? All the people just getting slaughtered and you can't do nothing. You know how pathetic it is if you really look at it? Just say you got 500 people running from one person with a gun. Remember that shooting in France a few years ago? 300 people ran for their lives over 2 people with guns. That's it. 6 million, 6 million Jews plus the German citizens. So over 10 million people were defenseless against a couple thousand Nazis. Now check this out, right? If these people here, the adults were armed, if they had gun rights, there would have never been a Holocaust. Because they outnumbered the Nazis hundreds to one, easily. If they had guns too, there would have been no Holocaust. There would have been no Pol Pot. There would have been no, whoever. You know what I mean? Hitler or Stalin or any of these guys. If the people had guns, they would have overpowered them. That's why they're dead, because they didn't have guns. Going into the biblical times too. Imagine that if the Jews at the time, God's kingdom, when the Nephilims invaded them or threatened them, imagine if they were told just to stand down and do nothing. There would have been no Israel. Imagine if God didn't tell David to, you just stand down, don't worry about it. They would have been overrun. Nobody could have stopped those people. The Palestinians and all that. So that's what we're dealing with there. And it is a God-given right, plain and simple. So the Federalist Papers, who's this here? I can't even read that. There's Thomas Jefferson quote here. I'm trying to find a clear one. I can't see that one. But yeah, this is Thomas Jefferson here. So he says, laws that forbid the carrying of arms only disarm those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws, in other words, he's saying, in today's language, the innocent people. That's the only, gun laws only affect innocent people because criminals don't follow laws. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailant. In other words, worse for innocent people and better for the criminal. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides. For an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. So he's saying somebody that's unarmed, a criminal will have no problem going and attacking them. But if they're armed, they're like, yeah, I'm going to watch what I'm not going to go try that. You know what I mean? Most likely, and if he does, he's going to get shot. And James Madison said, the Constitution preserves the advantage of being armed, which Americans possess over the people of almost every other nation where the governments are afraid to trust the people with arms. So you get that all the time. Oh, look at Europe. We got to be like Europe. Yeah, they don't have homicides with guns over there. No, they don't. You're right. But what they don't tell you is the stabbings through the roof. Hammers, they kill people with hammers. Bombs, stabbings. Yeah, they don't want to tell you that though, right? So they do have massive homicides, worse than us. But they're not with guns, but they were nice. A criminal's always going to find a way to kill you. But you, go ahead, go to London, England, right? Walk around with a knife. You get caught by the bobbies, you're going to jail. But it's okay for these Islamic extremists to walk around with knives. It's okay for them to walk around with guns. And this is Thomas Jefferson in regards to the Second Amendment. Already just read that one, so yeah, that's the same quote. So I want to get a couple more quotes. This is JFK. He quoted about guns. Now, this is a Democrat, right? This is today you wouldn't even know this because Democrats in his time, they loved the Second Amendment. So he says, today we need a nation of Minutemen. That's what, here in Rhode Island, that's where they come from. They have a Minuteman on top of the State House. A Minuteman was, in other words, when you're 16 and up, you had to carry a gun with you. You were called a Minuteman because you had to be ready in a minute's notice. That's why they nicknamed it Minutemen. So it could be, just say you and your son, right? You're going off to the market or working on a farm. You had to have your gun on you all the time. So if we got invaded or something, they would call them Minutemen, which is the average citizen. But JFK was saying, because he's seen the communists threatening our country here to try to take gun rights away. They were trying to do it back then. So he said, in response to that, we need a nation of Minutemen, citizens who are not only prepared to take up arms, but citizens who regard the preservation of freedom as a basic purpose of their daily life and who are willing to consciously work and sacrifice for that freedom. Then another quote he says, JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the president there, by calling attention to a well-regulated militia, right, we already said what that was. It's an organized citizens militia. It's not the military nor the National Guard. It's the people. By calling attention to a well-regulated militia, the security of the nation, and the right of each citizen to keep and bear arms, our founding fathers recognized the essential civilian nature of our economy. The Second Amendment still remains an important declaration of our basic civilian military relationships, in which every citizen must be ready to participate in the defense of his country. For that reason, I believe that the Second Amendment will always be important. Now, you wouldn't hear that from a presidential Democrat these days, would you? No, you wouldn't. And if you live in today, you didn't know who JFK was, you would swear this guy's a Republican or something, right? No, he's a Democrat. They're called conservative Democrats. We got some in Rhode Island. They're Democrats, but they love gun rights. They're conservative Democrats. So some founding father quotes, but more here. So George Washington said, a free people ought not only to be armed, but disciplined. In other words, get some training. That's why us gun clubs, we always tell people, when you buy a gun, right, make sure you go to the range and learn how to shoot it. Make sure it's comfortable for you. Discipline is you have strict safety guidelines and all that, and you teach everybody in the house what not to do and what to do. You know what I mean? And so the schools used to teach us. You know what I mean? The public schools used to teach gun safety. You could bring your rifle to school, and they would teach you how to break it down and everything else. That was public schools in America for hundreds of years. We never had a problem with stuff. So no free man shall ever be debarred the use of his arms. That was Thomas Jefferson when they drafted the Constitution. He said no free man at all shall shall ever be debarred from the use of his arms. Which today in some states they're doing that now. They debarring us from using our arms. Like right now, if I walk outside with a gun, open carry, or I got caught carrying it without a permit, I go to jail. It's unconstitutional. We had open carry laws up until like 3 years ago. Then they stopped that too. Nobody ever shot anybody. And Thomas Jefferson said in the letter to James Madison, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. So what does that mean? The Bible talks, this is prophetic, right? The Bible says when they speak of peace and security, right? Perilous times will come. They do the same thing, the politicians. Oh, you need to give up your liberties for safety. That's what they do. And a famous quote by, where is it? Benjamin Franklin, right? He says, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety, you deserve neither one of them. You don't deserve liberty or safety. And that's a fact. If you're not much of a coward that you say, oh, I'm going to give up my guns to keep us all safe. Are you a moron? Like, seriously. Because why would you give up the tools that keeps you safe already? You know what I mean? Why would you give up the essential tools you have that keeps us liberty? You think the government's going to keep you safe? Yeah, good luck in that. Ask people from Poland. Ask people from Germany. Ask people from Cuba and Russia and everything else. Yeah, it didn't work out to them. And those people say, well, this is U.S. We wouldn't do that here. Yeah, you think? You think they wouldn't? We disarm ourselves, this country will fall overnight. Seriously. And it's crazy, man. Hang on a second. All right, so back in World War II, right? Right before Pearl Harbor, because they planned Pearl Harbor, you know what I mean, the Japanese, to get us involved with the war. So they wanted to pull a land invasion instead of Pearl Harbor, bombing the ships. So this was from Japanese Admiral Isakuro Yamamoto. He said to the government, the Japanese government, you cannot invade the mainland of the United States. There will be a rifle behind every blade of grass, reflecting the fear of widespread armed civilian resistance through the exact origin debated by historians. And then they end up firebombing with the planes. Pearl Harbor, the ships there. They attacked our Navy. But they would go pull a land invasion, and it's the only reason why they didn't, because we were armed. They would have, back then they didn't have radar. They would have just came in and wiped us out. If we didn't have guns back then, they would have came right into the mainland, worked their way through, and by the time our government even found out what was going on, they would have already taken control of the cities and states. You know what I mean? So, and again, those people who had guns back then, nothing compared to today. So that's important, historical importance of gun rights. And we got so many quotes here. Thomas Jefferson again said, what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that the people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. They emphasized how important it was for the people to be more armed than the military, because it prevents dictatorship. Thomas Jefferson, the laws that forbid the carrying of arms are laws that such a nature. They disarm only those who are neither inclined or determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailant. We already talked about this one. But anyway, they served rather to encourage to prevent homicides, for an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. And Thomas Jefferson again here, a strong body makes mind strong. As the species of exercise, I advise the gun. While it gives a moderate exercise to the body, it's boldness, enterprise, and independence to the mind. Games played with the ball in other nature are too violent for the body to stamp no character in mind. Let your gun, therefore, be your constant companion on your walks. And there's tons of quotes. We go on all day with this. By lawyers, the founding fathers, everything. And how important the Second Amendment is. What do you think the wars were started over here? The King Philip War here in America was started over guns. The British wanted to confiscate all the guns from the Indians. They're like, no, we gave you that land you have in Boston. You're not taking our guns. That my ancestor, King Philip, which his name is Grand Sachem Metacomet, the Grand Chief, he united all the tribes at the time and to overthrow the British. But the Mohegans at the time in Connecticut, they end up selling out to the British and taught them how to hunt in the woods and all that stuff, and we end up losing. And of course, the Revolutionary Wars started what was 2% tax and guns. The first shot heard around the world, right in Lexington, Concord, April 19th, 1775. When Captain John Parker, he led the troops there to protect the armory because the British were coming to confiscate the guns from their armory. The armory is for the local militia, and that's when the whole the British are coming thing. You know what I mean? That's where all that came from and everything else. The Paul Revere ride. So, and it all started there. We had, over here in Rhode Island, too, we had a British ship that came in our harbor, and we shot the officers and burned the boat down. You know what I mean? So, this country has a lot of history in it that doesn't get talked about. You know what I mean? But the Second Amendment is very important. And today they treat it as a second-class right. And you'll see it. And let me go to this guy. Where is it? Hang on. This clown here in Rhode Island, right? So right off the bat after the shooting, what does he do? Push gun control. Look at this. We need, under the current law, the gun industry gets special treatment, protected from liability. So basically he's calling to sue the gun companies. Calling for gun control and everything else, right? And he's supporting Eric Swalwell in California. So they want to sue the gun manufacturers. You know what I mean? All right, so if you want to do that then, so if I get hit by a car next time, and if it's a Toyota, I'm going to go sue Toyota? Yeah, that makes no sense at all. Every day people get hit by drunk drivers. Do they sue the car companies? No. But they want to go after the gun manufacturers. Because it's a way to if you take the gun manufacturers out, you won't be able to buy guns. So they have all these loopholes. But this idiot congressman here in Rhode Island, jumping all over it. Look what we need to do. Saving lives, the Taxpayers' Dollars Act. It's not saving lives, you're taking lives. This is ridiculous, really is. Let me see if it's still there. I've been posting this comment all day. So, everywhere and all the news channels and everything else. And so, this is what I put. Blame gun control, because all them people couldn't defend themselves because our criminal state government prohibits them from exercising the Second Amendment. Had them people been armed, they wouldn't have been victims. But the state's officials don't care about your rights. With gun restrictions, all it does is prevent us from defending ourselves. Next time some bozo calls from gun control, remember these 20 people who are not allowed to defend themselves because of unconstitutional gun control, and tell these gun control advocates to shove it. You're not a victim when you're armed. Remember that. And I've been getting a lot of support on all the pages, tons of likes. And of course, you get some snarky people put, so you're going to have 20 people shoot back? Yeah, exactly. If somebody comes shooting, how many people would have died today? If you take any other, all these school shootings and everything else, if the teachers somebody was armed, they would have stopped the shooter. And they don't tell you every day across this country. Every day, an armed citizen stops a murder. They stop crimes. They stop mass shootings. I don't know how many mass shootings they prevented, but you won't hear that in the media. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? And they won't tell you that. But that one time the mass shooting does take place, they'll run all through the media like it's a common thing. But they won't tell you every day armed citizens stop people. You know what I mean? They won't tell you that. And these bozos, exactly what they are. They'll sit there and, especially in the Sandy Hook thing. which nothing ticks me off more, okay? These people in Connecticut, right? They'll sit there and exploit the deaths of these poor children to push gun control and attack your free speech. You know what I mean? I went through 2 depositions with that crap. You know, when they try to sue Alex Jones. I was only a part of it because of the Second Amendment, but that's it. Whatever. I can't discuss it on YouTube because they might shut us down because one of the people from St. Hook has got something up his butt. You know what I mean? I'm not, I'm trying to talk nice here. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But I went through a lot of crap with these people. You know, really have. And they want to sue everybody. You know, it's disgusting. And that's not talking for all the parents, you know. Most of the parents just like went on about their lives, you know, God bless them and everything. But these other people, they exploit the deaths of children and to try to get people to bend for gun control. But yet, they don't tell you if the school was armed, the shooter would have never got in. If you had armed guards at the school, you know, the shooter would have never gotten in the building. They don't want to tell you that part, though. You know, it's disgusting. So, and I just want to go over this stuff here and just to explain to you how important gun rights are. You know what I mean? We could go into the Bible, and the Bible, Bible's full of us protecting ourselves, you know? But if you want to know who's to blame, guys, I'm going to tell you right now who's to blame for all this in Rhode Island, because these people who are constantly, all the time, advocating for gun control. I just had it. All right, so... Oh, that's all right. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, that conference. So there's 2 people people are pointing out, the governor and the mayor, because they push gun control, right? They're the ones who are like, oh, we got to push more gun control. And the governor this year passed the assault weapons ban bill. That starting in July, where you won't be able to buy no more assault weapons in Rhode Island. So they say you can keep your guns. We have them now, right? You can keep them. But they're already talking about a gun confiscation bill. They're going to try to push next year. So they're going to try to confiscate our guns. It's completely illegal. They can't do that. They know that. They know that assault weapons ban is going to get shot down. But they tried anyway. So these people are to blame. And especially these clowns, every town for gun safety, the Brady campaign, the Sandy Hook Promise, the coalition of gun routes, especially these clowns, the Moms Demand Action, and Giffords. These people are communists. They're paid off by George Soros. They're paid off by Michael Bloomberg especially to push gun control. And these people, this is how they operate, right? So you'll have these members. They belong to several organizations. They come here in Rhode Island all the time, right? And so it's a joke. So here in Rhode Island, right, we have a big Second Amendment following. So when it comes time for the legislation, we pack the State House. Thousands of us, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, we pack the State House to support gun rights. So these clowns, the Moms Demand Action, the lunatics, they show up. They're demented. They really are. Talk about far left liberals, complete demented, butchered here. They look like the eyes look like they're psycho, but they'll show up to State House, right? And they'll mention they belong to several groups, so they try to make themselves look bigger than they actually are. So this shows like 40 of them, and they had to bust some of them from another state to show some kind of numbers. Us, we show up by the thousands. Yeah, I mean, but these groups here are jokes. And all they do, this is all they do. They go on TV, crocodile tears. They'll show the images, the pictures of the kids from the school shootings. The flowers next to him and all the scenes and all that to try to butter your heart down. But the thing is, these people are monsters. They're exploiting these poor little children. They got killed at these places that had gun control, gun-free zones. So here's the thing. If you're a criminal and you have intentions to go kill somebody, and you see that the people you want to kill is in a gun-free zone, it's like ding, your eyes light up, and it's like Christmas. Nobody can stop me. I'm going to go into a gun-free zone, and I'm going to have my way. Boom, 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 because nobody there is armed. But if you walk up to a school, you want to do something bad to a school, all of a sudden, hold on, see a police officer at the school, he's carrying a gun. Then you look at the sign on the school, it says armed school, staff and guards are carrying guns. You're like, yeah, I'm all set. I'm not going to go in that school and shoot it up. Now they talk about modeling after countries, right? Yeah, let's model after another country. How about Israel? So back in 1974, right, for 51 years, back in 1974, Israel decided to put armed military at every school. And guess how many school shootings happened in Israel in 51 years? Well, almost happened. 2. That's it. And each time the shooter was shot dead. No kids died. So, and here's the thing too. They say, well, we don't want a military stance at the school. That's fine. You know, you have people undercover, you know, a suit or something, carrying a gun. Nobody knows who's carrying. And the teachers, if they want to carry, go for it. And only the principal and the head of the security know who's carrying, who's not. That's it. That keeps it safe. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, too, the mentality of these people. They have no problem putting armed guards and police at banks, at the state house, at state offices, government buildings, and the post office, whatever, right? So they have no problem having armed guards where the money is. But they have a problem having armed guards at the school. Does that make any sense? So isn't your child worth more than that money and more than that gold, more than the governor's office, more than the congressman? Absolutely. Your child's worth a lot more. You should have armed guards at these schools. And again, it's not like, I'm not saying like standing there with a rifle like that. No. It looks like a school staff or a school staff just carrying that nobody knows. This way, if an incident does happen, like they do in Texas now, there's churches now. They have armed people in the churches. The people, you know, stand at the doors and all that stuff. They have armed people in the churches now in Texas. And schools now are heavily armed. So is in the banks. When I was working for InfoWars down there, we had a bank called Crystal Bank. And you walk in there, people carrying guns. The guards were carrying guns. The tellers had guns. Who in the heck's going to go in there and rob that place? Nobody. You go up to the school and, you know, like, did they have signs right in the schools? Let me see if I can pull it up. This right here. Hang on, let me do something. They prove a point right here, right? Hold on. So check this out, right? So you're a criminal, right? And you got guns, you want to go kill people, right? So you walk up to a school or a building, right? You see the sign. This is a gun-free zone. Licensed gun carriers and others may not enter with a gun. So licensed or not, you can't come in, right? Violators of this prohibited is a felony. So you're a criminal. This is open season. You know nobody in there is armed, so you're going to go in there, right? This is like putting a big neon sign on your school or your house. Come in and kill me. Nobody's going to stop you. They can't. So somebody with a gun's going to go in there. Yeah, you think that you're criminals. Oh, wait, there's a gun-free zone. I'm going to not go in there because there's a sign there. He's going to go in there and, like, joy. Oh, yeah, nobody's going to stop me. And that's why a lot of kids get killed in these schools, because there's nobody there to stop the gunner. But, yeah, check this out. You got these other schools, like New Richmond School here. And some schools in Texas right here. Attention. This school is protected by armed personnel. And this one, attention. Please be aware that the staff in the Medina ISD may be armed and will use whatever force necessary to protect the students. They don't show you this on the news, right? Attention. Please be aware that the staff may be armed and will use whatever force necessary to protect the students. Warning, staff members are armed and trained, and any attempt to harm children will be met with deadly force. Attention, please be aware that the staff at Agile ISD are armed and may use whatever force necessary to protect the students. So you got these schools over there, right, putting these signs up. So if you walk up to I don't care if you have 5 guys with you, right? If you walked up to a school to do this, to harm these people, you'd be like, uh-oh, yeah, I don't think we could do that. Because number one, you don't know who's armed, but you know there's armed people in it. So you see a sign like that, 99%, unless you're on a suicide thing, and if you are, you're going to get shot down right away. Like in Israel, like they would do with their schools. But yeah, you see this sign. Oh yeah, gun-free zone. This is open season for a criminal. Now I'm fortunate when my son goes to school, or we have a cop, armed cop at the school all the time, a safety officer. So it makes you feel a little bit better, you know what I mean? And just in case. So if you see a cop walking around with a gun, yeah, you're not gonna go into that school and shoot the place up. And if you do, you're gonna be put down real quick. So it's just common sense. And that's what these gun control people. We need common sense gun laws. Gun laws are not common sense. Common sense is to arm people, isn't it? So it's more common sense. A gun-free school where it's open season for a criminal, or a school that has armed personnel. Nobody's going to go shoot kids known as armed people, nah? And you walk into a classroom, going to shoot the class up, and the teacher pulls out a gun and shoots you. You know what I mean? Versus a gun-free zone, you can walk in and shoot whoever you want. It's free game. And the thing is, when you start getting into these debates with these people, right away, they accuse you of being a right-winger. Right away, they accuse you of being a right-winger. Say, I'm not a right-winger, I'm an independent constitutionalist. The Second Amendment is not about right versus left. It's about people versus tyranny. That's what it's about. Then the other thing they'll throw at you, they'll throw all these things at you. I mean, I deal with these people every year, and they can't win a debate to save their lives. They can't. Then they'll bring up stats, falsified stats, right? Then they'll say, well, look at the red states, the gun-free states, look at them. They got the worst crime rates. No, because it's not because of the state, it's the city. And all these states have a liberal-run city. Like I said earlier, you have Florida, right? Awesome state for gun rights. But because of Miami, that's why you have those crime rates. Same thing in Texas with Dallas. If you took Dallas out and Miami up, that'd be perfect states. You know what I mean? It's Chicago. Illinois is pretty decent on the whole. But because of Chicago, that's why they got a bad rep. Like here in Rhode Island, right? We have the highest crime rates are in Providence, Rhode Island. And I think Central Falls is up there too. But if you took that out of there, because they're complete liberal run areas. And if you look at Rhode Island, the demographics, only a small part of Rhode Island is liberal. And that's where all the crime is. And out in the backwoods here, in my part of the woods, right, it's mostly conservative area. You ain't going to see people running around shooting us. That's it. That's going to be a death wish for them. Like when the Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they would go around destroying stuff. Yeah, in Providence and all that. They would go to the mall and all that because it was a Democratic area. And then they threatened to come to this side of the state. And people's like, yeah, come try it. Because you're not going home, plain and simple. And of course they didn't do that. They knew better. You're not going to have Black Lives Matter and Antifa and these extremists going through the backwoods in small rural towns when everybody's armed. That's not going to happen. Like that song by the country singer, try that in a small town. Yeah, exactly. See, you're not walking out of there alive. I'm telling you right now, man, if some people come right near my area, I'm going to be up on the roof of my 30-06, taking anybody out that dares to threaten our lives. You know what I mean? So that's the way that's going to go. It's not going to go, because I wouldn't put up with that. And I would have no problem at all doing it. If somebody threatened my family like that, yeah, damn right, they're going to go down. They'll be meeting Jesus that night for judgment, that's for sure. So, and that's, I speak for most of the state here in Rhode Island. Almost every gun owner says the same thing, you know what I mean? And it's just disgusting that we have to do this, that because these people, these communist groups out there, Moms Demand Action and all that, they want to take your gun rights away. And these decrepit people here. Mayor Brett Smiley from Providence, Rhode Island, the bozo congressman, he thinks he's like so cool with this suit. Then the idiot governor in the background doesn't know who 2 + 2 is. Then the lieutenant governor, she can't even speak English. And she's like, next year we take guns next year. How about we take you and deport you? How's that sound? Idiots. Didn't stay around. Complete idiots, man. And it's by election fraud that these people win. And that's why they're afraid because all the illegals are getting deported. They know their voters are going. You know, it's crazy, man. It really is. And, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, now we can switch over to some biblical stuff and all that because, yeah, I just want to get my point out here. And I hope people watching this, you know, from these gun control groups, because and they, you know, there's some of these people in there who really think they're doing something good because they get lied to. That's the problem. It's all raw emotions. You hear kids and that's it. You know what I mean? It's all raw emotions. Nobody wants kids dead. But if you want to keep kids alive, you need to arm these schools. You can't disarm schools and think a criminal's not. That's dumb. Oh, wait a minute. There's no gun. I'm a criminal. Hold on. There's a gun-free zone. Oh, I can't go in there because there's a gun. I got to follow the law. Says no criminal. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. So let me check the comments here. We'll do some phone calls. So I want to talk about, I was going to talk about, you know, the biblical stuff about love, because there's different kinds of love. And probably going to wait till next week for that. But yeah, I just want to come on here and rant about what was going on in Rhode Island. And yeah, we could also relate it to the Bible, because again, if you go to the scriptures, how many times did God instruct Joshua to assemble the army to go after Nephilim kingdoms or defend Israel from them or invading armies and everything else? All through the biblical history. Samson, Shamgar, remember Shamgar? He took his ox guard, the staff, and you know the Palestinians are overrunning Israel. He slaughtered like 400 of them by himself and sent the rest of them fleeing. One man. You know what I mean? So if it was unbiblical to have gun rights, then Israel would have never been a nation again. And again, we could go right, I did a whole video on this. We go right to David. You know, let's go to David, right? So he took stones and used a sling. You know how powerful a sling is? It's more powerful than a 22. If you use that thing right, you can really kill somebody, that's what it's for. So what is a bullet? It's lead. The projectile that comes out of the bullet, because you got the bullet, right? The casing, the gunpowder in it. So when it shoots, it kicks the casing out, and the bullet, the slug they call it, it's like that big. That's what goes flying, and it's made of lead. Where does lead come from? The ground. Where does that stone come? The ground. So what's the difference between the gun and the sling? Nothing. It's a tool to project something out to kill the target. No big difference. There's no difference with that. So to say, oh, well, it's not biblical to have gun rights, yeah, you better go read the Bible, because it most certainly is. Self-defense rights all through the scriptures. What do you think Peter carried a sword for? He didn't walk around, oh, I can't defend myself. Well, they very much defended themselves. And he was ready to defend himself when they came to get Jesus. He would have got killed eventually, but he loved Jesus so much he was ready to go to war with these troops that came to get him, to hold him off long enough so Jesus could get away. But Jesus says, no, stand down, because it was meant for Jesus to be taken. You know what I mean? But you go, because if it was against that, what did Jesus would tell him? Don't carry a sword. And he talked about trading your cloaks for swords. You know what I mean? And like that, because you need to defend yourself. You can't just sit there and be a doormat. And you got to be these pacifist Christians. And my cousin Bobby's one of them from Connecticut, a pacifist, right? Oh, I'm not going to buy a gun. I said, what if something happened? Oh, I'm just going to sit in there and pray. I'm like, dude, you not read the Bible. Well, he does, he cherry picks things. But yeah. So, just sit there. They call them pacifists. In other words, they don't want to do nothing. They're going to sit there like cowards and do nothing while their family's getting slaughtered. You know what I mean? Or raped, or God knows what the hell they do. You know what I mean? These people. So, yeah, that's why you need to be armed, or, you know, if you don't have a gun, whatever, learn how to defend yourself. You know, it's not unbiblical to do that. Yes, we're supposed to be peaceful, loving, and all that good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? And we're supposed to turn the other cheek when we get assaulted. Insulted. Turn the other cheek, right? But Jesus never said to lay down the terror. He never said to, all right, don't do nothing. Never said that. And what do you think Jesus is going to do when he comes back? He's not coming back to bring peace. He's coming back with a sword. He's coming back to kick some butt. And the 10,000 people on horses with him. They're not coming back here to make peace and all that negotiations. They're coming back here for war. You know what I mean? So don't mistake Jesus as this little pushover hippie. He's not. And that's the image they put because of the TV and the Catholic Church. So they put Jesus as this long-haired hippie, tender and timid and all that. No, Jesus is far from that. Jesus is like jacked, literally. You know what I mean? Jesus is a warrior. He's coming back to lay hell and then some in this world. It ain't going to be funny. Yeah, the world elite going to tremble when he returns because they know what Jesus is going to do to them. And why do you think all these bunkers being built everywhere? I wanted to bring that up too. And Revelation talks about the elite of the world, the generals and all that. They're building, they go into the caves higher than the earth from Jesus, right? They're not building these underground shelters for nuclear fallout. They know there's going to be no nuclear thing to wipe up the earth. Will the bombs be used? Yes, but not to wipe up the earth. They know that. The only purpose they're building these shelters for is because they think they're going to hide from Jesus. That's why they're doing them. You got places like Iron Mountain and all these other places, Crystal Peak and all that. They build these things because the elite know that when Jesus returns, they're going to try to hide from him. And the Bible says that they're going to pray that the rocks fall on them to kill him before they see Jesus. So, let me just get an update on this real quick. So they know damn well what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And so sorry to use that language. I just want to check on that. But yeah, that's Jesus has come back to take care of business, plain and simple. And great listen. So that looks good. And hang on, let me get to my screen here. We'll do some phone calls if you guys want to call into the show. So the phone number is up on the screen here. So if you guys want to call me, put the number in here. Yeah, the mountains will fall on them for sure. Yeah, man, and people, they do that all the time. They're mistaking Jesus for, Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, brother, what's up?
Oh, not much. Woo!
Well,
how's it going, brother?
good job as always. I just want to remind everybody.
Oh, thank you.
You know how we got demons of every country, state, county, and city, probably. But remember what Father we said that we had to do to get rid of all this stuff? He said, "My people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. I will hear from heaven and heal their land." It's up to us.
Yep. Yeah, people
He's not
just
even
lay
talking
down.
about-
I'm sorry. Yeah, people just lay down and.
Oh yeah, if somebody comes after you got to pop them.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be pushover doormats and just be slaughtered for no reason. You defend your family.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, he gave us what to do spiritually, and he'll get these demons out. He'll get the corrupt. He'll take the corrupt leaders out, and these people trying to do all this stuff. But he didn't even say that the worldly people had to do anything. He's like those who, are mine.
Mm-hmm.
Claim to. But anyhow.
Woo.
Woo.
Amen to that,
I
man.
let someone up. But anyway, I just wanted, that just came to my heart and mind, so I just wanted to get it out there.
All right, thanks, brother.
All right, man.
Hey,
have
God
a great
bless you.
night.
You too.
Loved everybody in the
Love
chat.
you too, man. Woo.
Bye. Woo.
Hey, guys, by the way, if you call in, just one quick thing. If you get the call denied, don't call back. I got your number here on the call ID, and I'll call you back in turn. So next is Texas Horse. Well, I think his new name now. Yeah, Texas Horse, if you hear me, call me back. Because for some reason, I can never call you. I don't know, it's because the phone system or something. So let me see. I forgot what your new name is. We'll give him a second here. Then we'll call Brother Craig that just called. Some people like, there he is. Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
All right. For some reason, it never lets me call you back.
I don't know. I don't know why that is. I liked your little matrix there, all the different groups that are continuously fighting for gun control.
Yeah.
And then all these different shootings, of course, we all recognize them as red flag events. Mm-hmm. They do this to put to another piece of legislation to get gun control through. But there's another system working under all this legislation stuff. Is they do a lot of manipulation in your local and county and state.
Yep.
Where you show up if you're going to like protest or if you're going to, some type of event where somebody will call on you. And nearly always, here in the last couple of years especially, I've noticed this, they start using this obstructing government operations, especially with the ICE programs and stuff like that, rallies and protests, obstructing government operations. Now, if you get arrested for that and convicted, they got that as a felony, you just got your gun control right there.
Yep.
And they're using that more and more and more and more. I see that all the time. So, whenever you go to these rallies too, one should be aware that they got the facial recognition cameras working. And, this is all post day sixers. Remember back January of day six? Yep. And now all those people that were arrested, wrongly, they had no participation in any type of riot that was going on. But it doesn't matter. You're in that system.
Yep.
For X amount of many years, and all the time you're in that system, you can't own or have possession of a gun. See, they have other ways to control you, so you got to be cautious about when you go to these rallies and stuff, because you don't have to be doing anything wrong, but if somebody else does something wrong with the facial recognition they got, it's like a big rope they throw. They just bring the herd in and throw it against everybody.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, they use all kinds of propaganda, and they're always thinking of something.
I've never found a reason for any type of gun control, because the guns don't do the evil deeds. It's the people that have bad hearts, bad souls.
Yep.
They do the evil deeds.
You notice how the guns get blamed, but every day, like the amount of deaths in this country with guns, right, is nothing compared to drunk drivers. And,
right, exactly.
And they don't, drunk, it's not even close to the top 20.
And look what they've done to drunk drivers. The whole criminal offense of drunk driving is really just a money-making machine for the government.
Yep.
Because even if you have one beer, you got alcohol in your breath, you're not going to pass their test, it's a $10,000 ticket.
Yep.
And so, I advise everybody, do not drink any alcohol if you're going out to dinner or anything like that, because if you get pulled over and you just got that one beer breath, it's a $10,000 beer you just downed. Because it's not about justice anymore. It's not about getting the DWI people off the road.
Yep.
It's about making money for the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's turned into.
Yep.
And I'm sure sooner or later they're going to find a way to make even more than it is right now. Owning a gun is going to be a money-making deal for the government, because they're going to put some type of restriction on there. Either you got to be qualified, or you got to go get a mental evaluation or something. There's going to be a cost to having ownership of guns. somewhere.
Yeah, they're already trying
That's
to
gonna-
in some
That's
states.
going to push a lot of people out of the market of owning a gun. It's inevitable.
Yeah, no, Massachusetts.
Anyway,
In Massachusetts, you need in Connecticut, you need a FID card to buy ammo, and you need to one even to buy a gun, which is ridiculous. You know, like they make you get a special license to get one.
it's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let somebody else call in there then. I'm going to hang up now.
All right. God bless you, man.
All right, you too, man.
Yep.
Take care.
Later. Oh, we got this number then. Brother Craig, 832 calling you back.
Hello?
Hi, this is Dan. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hey, it's Felix. Just calling in to
Hey, what's up, brother?
ask you a question. Hey, I just want to know, do you think that Jade Helm exercises a while back, a few years ago, is connected to confiscating guns?
Yeah.
That's the question I had.
Yeah, I mean, because Alex Jones was all over that. I think that's when I was working for him, too. And, yeah, they were doing gun confiscation practices, and they do that every year anyway. FEMA, the NLE, the National Level Exercises every year, and half the time they'll use foreign troops, too, and they'll do exercises for gun confiscation and rounding up civilians and everything. And it's disgusting.
Yeah. Okay.
So I heard you helping out Brother David, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Out here helping them out. We're hanging out right now.
Oh, tell David I said what's up. Brother David.
All right. I'll cut it short. We'll talk later.
All right, take care, brother. God bless you.
You too. Same to you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. I think Brother Craig called. The frequent callers, I saved the names. Which I should say at the context.
Hey, Brother Dan.
Hey, what's up, Craig?
Not too much. Yeah, I was thinking about, in regards to gun rights, really about self-defense, depending on, what you got at the time with you. I think about, Jesus, in the temple. I believe it's in the book of John, Gospel of John, where Jesus gets a whip and goes after the money changers and chases them out of the temple, and overturns the tables. He was, Jesus was defending his place.
Yep.
His house. That's that. I think a lot of people that are, against guns never remember that part of it about Jesus.
Yeah.
And as far as gun rights, I think gun rights should be absolute with no restrictions.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister, she went to high school back in the 70s, and we got to talking about guns one time, and when she was going to high school, it was common to see a truck in the school parking lot with the gun rack with the rifle in there in the truck. That was commonplace in the South for a long time. So I think just let students at a at a reasonable age, or whenever they know how to use a gun, just let them carry it to school. And and they'll let teachers carry it, just let everybody have a gun. I think that would put the school shootings down to a 0% rate overnight.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it. Yeah, it's like and another thing, on another topic, I've been reading a little bit. I'm gonna try to read a more detailed account about the Maccabees and the when they went up against the Greeks. That's pretty interesting, and how they for 8 days, they had just enough oil for one day. Then miraculously, it lasted for 8 days, and it's called the Feast of Dedication in the John 10 chapter 10 verse 22 and 23. Of course, it's also known as Hanukkah. Just my opinion on Hanukkah is, I know some people say it adds to the feast days and to the Bible, but I just look at it as commemorating the Maccabees and how they stood up against pagans, the Greeks. It's not a required feast or anything. If people don't want to celebrate it, I don't have a problem with it. That's just my thoughts on Hanukkah. I just don't really see what the big deal is. After all, it was the Maccabees fighting a bunch of pagans in the Syrian Greek army. So, that was just my thoughts on it. And, it's really sad that, people have to lose their lives because of gun control.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Gun-free zones, they might as well put a free-for-all sign up there.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. And that's about all I had. Thought I'd call in and get my thoughts on a couple of things.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah, you take care,
You
Brother
too,
Dan.
brother. And, God bless you, man. Nice hearing from you.
Yeah, God bless you.
Shalom.
Shalom.
And next caller here, so my buddy Daniel. DJ.
And Bidondi.
Hey, DJ. What's up, brother?
What's going on, bro?
Not much. Chaos up here.
Yeah, I've been seeing it. Just got to pray for those people,
Is that you, Charborn 454?
What's that?
Is that your new name? Was it Charbon?
Oh, Seabird. So that, I don't understand why it switched. So
yeah,
yeah, that's me. The other one,
YouTube's doing something different. I couldn't, when I got this channel back, I couldn't chat my own chat for a while. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I thought it was restricted, but I guess they want you to sign up for a handle now.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, if you make a profile on YouTube, like
Yep.
you have your username and then you have your handle. So now it's just going by handle, which nobody knows me by my handle. I don't understand why it's doing that.
Yeah.
Before it was Romans, like that's what everybody would see. But I don't know why it's using. Anyway, yeah, that was me. That was I had my Chevrolet. It was Suburban. It was obviously a Suburban 454. And,
all right.
I called it the Bourbon because I used to drink and so see bourbon. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad you called because it's perfect for this subject. Because when you lived here, me and you every year at the State House, several times a year, we testified before the Senate, the House, Judiciary, and everything else, fighting for gun rights. And you've seen the madness up here. So now there's the results right there. Perfect results when they push this gun control. There it is right there. People dead.
Well, and which is the sad part because, it just kind of seems like they were gearing towards it because for years and years they were putting the bans on this, putting the bans on that, putting the restrictions in place and this and that. I mean, me and you have gone to the State House many times. Remember the late our late friend Jen Moffitt? She was going to the State House. She was a huge advocate. We have a ton of friends, a lot of good-hearted people, that are always wanted to just see people have their rights protected.
Yeah.
That's it. And you have these evil, vile scum who say, you don't want these people to live. You don't care about those lives. Yes, that's why we say that they should protect themselves.
Yep.
Like, yes, these vile and evil people don't even want citizens to have non-lethal weaponry, like, pepper spray or, rubber bullet or whatever. They don't want people to protect themselves at all. They want you to be a victim.
Yep.
And they want you because they want the government to know what's best for you. They want complete control. If people say, no, that's not what it is. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Because if it wasn't, you would allow people to be able to protect themselves at all costs. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. I'm not saying that we're out here forcing you, for those that don't like firearms, we're not telling you or forcing you to have a firearm. It's a huge responsibility. Mm-hmm. It is a huge responsibility. You have to have self-discipline. A lot of people don't know what that is. Okay, you have to have self-discipline. You have to have principles. You have to have respect for life. Okay, 98% of people.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't know, that's probably exaggeration, but 98% of people, right, who carry a firearm, whether open or concealed, all right, have self-discipline, have respect, have the proper training. You go to the range regularly or more often than most people, okay? But there are even people that go more than you do, right? Like I'm sure you know these people. I've known them, and they train vigorously.
Yep.
And they probably, maybe they do. Maybe they train just like officers.
Yep.
Okay. These people that carry because they're passionate about not only protecting themselves, but when they're out there in public, they're also looking out for everybody else that's around them because they have respect for life. Okay? Criminals do not. Mm-hmm. Okay? It doesn't even matter what type of criminal. It could be a bank robber. Okay? If his end goal is to get away, he or she is going to do whatever it takes to carry out their atrocity, whether it's to steal an item or to steal a life. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what they use. How many times have we seen a story, of somebody ramming a crowd with a vehicle? Oh, I don't know, New Orleans? How about New York?
Yep.
How about all the times
and
you
know, we had no
Europe?
calls for car control.
Yeah, you don't hear, nobody else is saying, geez, I think we ought to ban automobile. No, because it's not at your convenience to do so, right? because all these little prissy people, I can't ban cars. I need to go get my Starbucks. Yeah, of course. You lard. Yeah, it's not at your convenience. You just don't like firearms. That's the only reason why you. Yeah. Oh, they scare me. Yeah, they're supposed to be scary.
Yeah,
they're firearms. It's not a children's pop-up book. Like it's a firearm.
Yeah.
Yes, they're designed to kill, whether you use it in defense or offense. It's the person's choice, right? It's the person's free will.
Yep.
And people are out here trying to legislate free will. You can't. Okay, you just can't. I see it. One of the comments that somebody was making towards me was, you think that this person is talking about reform, and you assume that they want to ban guns. Yeah. Why do you think that these people are talking about reform? That's their ultimate goal, is to ban guns.
Oh, yeah.
Or to implement some sort of restriction. Okay, let's do a little history lesson then, right? Anywhere in the Second Amendment, does it sanction or restrict sex? No. Okay, it doesn't restrict sex, right? So you can be a male or a female and take part in the Second Amendment. Okay, it doesn't restrict what your finances are, right? You can have $500 in the bank, you can have $500,000 in the bank. Second Amendment, doesn't matter. Okay, you can be black or white, take part in the Second Amendment. Whatever your creed is, you could be French. I'm French. Okay, it doesn't matter. You could take part in the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment doesn't even restrict age, for Christ's sakes. How many videos and how many stories you see of parents teaching their kid at 5 or 6 or 10 years old how to shoot a firearm? Dan, you have a child, right? Mm-hmm. Does the Second Amendment restrict the person's age, or to take him to the shooting range?
Yep.
No. So it doesn't restrict anything. Okay. It's not even forcing you to own a firearm. It's not. Instead of trying to make people a victim, okay, putting all these restrictions in, all these stupid quote-unquote reforms, you don't need reforms.
Yeah.
You don't need reforms. What you need to do is you need to tell the people, hey, listen, it is up to you whether you want to go out in the public and you want to protect yourself at all costs, okay? You need to encourage people, all right? This is a very dangerous world. Always has been and always will be. It's not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is, well, what we've seen is people who ought to be locked up in an insane asylum, okay, they're out walking the streets. Y'all got way too soft back in the day and say, geez, we're harming these people. They need to be out. They're human too. No, there's some people that literally are just not wired to be in the public space. They're just not wired to be amongst the public. Okay? It's unfortunate. It's sad. I'm not saying we do experiments on them, Jesus Christ, but they need to go into a nut house, all right? And they need to be outside of society. There's no place for them. And what you see all the time is these cuckoo heads are just out here doing whatever it takes to fulfill their needs or wants in their minds. And you're never, ever going to stop them. There's not going to be any amount of laws, any amount of restrictions, any amount of sanctions, any amount of whatever, taxes. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We know their number one goal, all right, these people that are calling for reforms, we know their number one goal is to ban firearms, okay? We know that.
And like they say, the biggest one, right? Oh, we're not trying to take your guns. bull. First, it's like, all right, what they do is by increments, right? First is, the automatics, then the semi-automatics, then they'll go by the caliber. Then you can have more than 10 rounds in your magazine. Then they try to push legislation for 5 now. So before you know it, you're going to be down to a single shot 22. And then they're going to attack that too. So they go by increments. And they pull these, all these little tactics, right? And then when they have the buyback programs or in the comments, right, you'll see you see them all the time. A person will say, I own a bunch of guns and I'll have no problem giving them all up and we need to push gun control. And it's like, you don't own a bunch of guns, you're a liar. Or you have the person at the buyback programs or, the cities that will buy the guns from you when I get them off the street, right? You'll have that one person comes in, the media's all over him, he's turning his an AR-15 in and it's like, oh, I own this for years and I'm turning it in for safety, right? And I confronted one guy, one at the State House and one in Pawtucket. And when he pulled in, I could see the Mounds Demand Action sticker on his car. That's how dumb they are. So I asked the guy, it's like, all right, there's 2 breakdown pins on the AR-15. You want it for 20 years? Oh yeah, I shot this thing. And it's like, well, it's funny because it doesn't look like it's been shot to me. But anyway, you don't have to show me. Point on the picture here. Where's the breakdown pin? If you own an AR-15, everybody should know where the breakdown pin is. Where is it? He's like, right in front of everybody. Oh, I don't have time for this. Yeah, because you're full of, you know what I mean? You're full of crap. It's exactly it. So you didn't own that gun because it's a PR stunt. That's why you're shaking hands with the mayor, taking pictures to make it look like, AR-15 owner turned his gun in for safety. Bull crap. Bull. You know what I mean? They pull all these little stunts all the time, and it's half the time it's the same people doing it.
My heart breaks because Rhode Island was already in such a mess.
Yeah.
Okay. And people won't know it, but I do call in from time to time on the local stations. You might hear me a couple of times. I think it's a hoot, but I call in, and there's times where I'll go toe to toe with what's his name there from WPRO, Dan
York. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, York. How do I forget that name? And this guy, and many people like him, think that everything is just fine and dandy in Rhode Island. There's no issue. When I was trying to press him on, Dan, like the whole state is a mess. Well, what do you mean the whole state's a mess? It like everything's an embarrassment. Look at every sort of news article that comes out of Rhode Island, an embarrassment.
Yep.
How about the one just last week that we found? Somebody tied to what's that office there in Rhode Island? I forget. Tied to the sitting Senator Reed.
Yep.
He's been funneling $12 million to the cartel. 12, and they want to come after our taxes. They want more taxes. This is retarded.
Yeah.
This is absolutely retarded. Like, they want to take more and more taxes out of you, and I can't stand the argument, well, the government always needs to tax in order to operate. Well, operate for what? So you can funnel it to the cartel? I mean, $12 million, it's a drop in the bucket of how much we just gave overseas again. But, I don't know about you, but I didn't authorize that. I didn't authorize the money that went overseas. I didn't authorize the money that went to the cartel. I don't authorize my hard-earned money going to groups wanting to take my Second Amendment right away.
Yeah.
And let's just get something clear, too. It's not just a right, right? It actually, it doesn't really say, like, like this is a God-given right. It's an amendment that restricts government power more than it is a God-given right. Like, it is a God-given right because you have the right to protect yourself, but it's an amendment to restrict government power. I thought all these people were all about, like, not having, like, kings and, power to the high offices and all this other stuff. But yet all of a sudden they're okay with giving up your right. I've never seen, I shouldn't say that. I never thought that there would have been a time where people were so active of trying to secede their rights away, like to just give them away willfully.
Yeah.
I never thought there was going to be a time. I think secede was the wrong
cowards.
word. But coward. Like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good-hearted people that just don't like firearms that are like, okay, we just don't need them.
Yeah.
But they're definitely duped. Okay.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of people that totally get it, and they have this very vile, evil, demonic intent. I think there's more of those than the innocently, kind of dumb people.
Mm-hmm.
But it leads to this. Rhode Island already has like an amount of issues that it's going to take another 50 years to come out of if you actually start doing things right now to correct them. And now you have this.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they were gearing up because they were banning this, they were banning that. That for years they've been trying to go after the guns. We know this because the finance committee.
Yep.
They remember that they said, "Oh, there's the governor at the time. It was Raimondo.
Yeah.
Her sole purpose was to limit the firearms in the state. They wanted to tax the living daylights out of the ammunition, the firearms, and going to the range because they just didn't. They wanted to tax everybody so that it was financially." Not feasible for people to own firearms. That they actually said that. It was Blake Filippi that was on that committee that was questioning them. That it's on record. It's on video.
Yeah.
It's been their clear message. And then it leads to this. Your comments and I've seen them almost on all the pages.
I've been going to every page and putting that. I'm getting a lot of support, man, and you people here and there. Oh, how dare you say that right now? We need time in the morning. But yeah, when I say that, that's bad. But it's okay for politicians right away, where congressmen already called for gun control, exploiting dead people to push gun control. The very gun control that got them killed in the first place. But that's okay. Yeah.
I'm sick and this is where I agree with them. I am sick and tired of mourning because of this stuff. I am. My heart breaks. This should not be. Okay? We are an enslaved people right now because we have just given up willfully our rights. Okay? And we're doing it as we sit here and talk. There are laws being made. There are restrictions being put in place on everything.
Yep.
Not just firearms. And people are willing. That's why I always am going after the citizenry. Okay, have you gone to the city hall? Have you gone to the town hall? Have you argued? What have you done other than put angry reactions on social media? I got no time for that. Then you know what? Then it's not important to you. It's not important to you. You need to get active. And what can I do? I'm just one person. Start meetings at your local coffee shop.
Well, I tell you what, one person, I don't mean to interrupt you, but one person stands up, the whole place will stand up. And I'm an example of that many times. I was at one, nobody would address the elephant in the room. I addressed it. Then all of a sudden, you got at least half the people now have the courage to stand up. All it takes is one. And, I give many examples of that, man. And it was one of them, like a good example is to say, not to go off the subject, but one the job I had, I worked at Dunbar Armored Car. So they called the meeting at 4 o'clock in the morning before the end of the shift starts. Everybody's just miserable. So we had the corporate office come in and say, listen, it's like we got a new protocol. Now on the truck, you got the driver and the guy is called a hopper. He jumps in and out of the truck with the money and all that. It's a company that picks up money. It's an armored car thing, right? So they were telling us new protocol. If your hopper gets jumped or shot or something like that, you shut the door and take off. And I'm like, excuse me? And he goes, well, we're not taking questions. And I stood up and said, first of all, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. If you think your money in your piece of truck is worth my partner's life, it's like you got to be insane. It's like, take a look behind you. And he was standing in front of a wall with a lot of people that died on duty. I'd say, you think I'm going to be responsible for one of those names being put on the plaque? I'd say, you better fire me now because I'm going to run the SOB over, or I'm going to get out and go guns blazing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let somebody kill my partner and take off because you want your truck. Go pound sand. So as soon as I said that, like 50 people stood up in the room and just like, yeah, we're not doing that either. You know what I mean? And so, but all it takes is that one person to stand up, and it just sends a chain reaction to the people who want to do it, but they're like, Then one person does, especially if it's good, they're going to stand up. And we've done that at the State House. We've done that everywhere. When you stand up and speak out, other people are not going to be afraid to speak out anymore. You know what I mean? And that's where it starts.
Yeah, and Rhode Island will be in a vicious cycle until that happens.
Yeah.
Rhode Island will be in a revolving door, whether it's the argument for affordable housing or taxes or whatever. Everything that they do is just to fill in a void, and they keep on going over that void with Band-Aid solution after Band-Aid solution, and you see it. You see it every day with Rhode Island, whether it be the issue with the bridges or the issue with taxes or the issue with anything. And now you got this. So you think Rhode Island's bad now? It's a damn shame. It's such a beautiful history that Rhode Island has had. Is such a prominent and rich state back in the day. You could literally turn that state around within a week if you truly wanted to. But it's sad. It's just a sad situation. You got to pray for those people.
Yep.
Nobody should ever go to a class or a school or just walking down the street and be, involved in such a tragedy. It's BS. But you got to stop making people be the victim. These people walk on eggshells. You got to stop that. People have to start growing a spine. Men have to start becoming men. It bothers me anytime I see it. You got a shelter in place. What happened to a town or a city's militia?
Yeah. Let's go look for the guy and then, not hide in my house.
Yeah. Well, if you actually had an active militia, and I'm not talking about the National Guard. I'm not talking about the state police. I'm talking about if you had a militia, and anybody who says, "Oh, militia is racist" or this and that. No, we had militias up until like the 1900s. That's why we had all the armories. Okay, like the Pawtucket Armory, and all towns and cities had an armory because that's where the militia would go.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they use these armories for whatever offices or whatever. They don't have militias anymore, but that's what I'm saying. If you had like a town militia, like this guy would have been found in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think if it was way back then, he wouldn't walk out of that building alive.
No, or wherever he was, right?
Yeah.
Like he, you know what I mean? Like the police would have had that much extra help. The state police would have had that much extra help. The National Guard would have had that much extra help, and you would have had citizens, part of the militia, that were trained and well regulated to sort this person out or any issue that would have come into town. And it bothers me because it doesn't have to be like this.
No.
And society has just become so soft, so ungodly. And it all goes back to taking God out of schools and taking God out of daily lives and everything, because there's no principle, there's no values, there's no self-discipline. There's nothing.
They took God out of school. They took learning the Bible out of school. Then they took civics out of school. When they especially civics now, kid, you could tell them anything you want, but the Second Amendment, they're not going to know what it is. You know what I mean? And the media too.
Care.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're also not going to care what it is.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that a lot of people they don't know it. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about anything. And it's like, all right, well then if you don't care, then what is the meaning to life? Mm-hmm. You don't care that AI takes over. It's all because of their convenience. Mm-hmm. When it starts to affect them, that's when they start chirping. But they don't care. They don't care about nothing. And we don't care if this farm gets redeveloped into housing. you might want to care, because then you start getting food shortages.
Yep.
We lose 28,000 farms a year. Like you should start caring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I go, all right, anybody can be mad at the politicians, mad at the regulations, and all this other thing, but I feel like it comes down to the people. What are you doing? You've been laxed for so long. You've been bred to just give in, give up, and shrug your shoulders and put the blame on somebody else, or say it's somebody else's job to do so. No, it's your freaking job.
Yeah.
You're a citizen. Act like a citizen of this country.
Stand up and do something, man.
Right. So it's a sad time,
That's why,
man.
I don't know if you watched it earlier, when I was reading the quotes from JFK.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he quoted how it was important, President JFK, how important it is for the people to you reestablish these militias, and how important it is for them to take up arms and protect our country. You know what I mean? And so you would think the Democratic president, you wouldn't hear that today, but back then, for that short amount of time, they call them the JFK Democrats, the conservative Democrats. They're very pro-gun, pro-life, and everything. And now today, it's like...
Yeah, I consider that of me. Like I consider myself a JFK Democrat.
Yeah,
I got no problem. I got no shit. My grandfather was.
Yep.
Up until the day he died, he was a. I don't really like the blue collar Democrat, whatever. I don't really like to put a label
They
on
love
things,
God, guns, and country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the old school Democrats were you're more you're more faith based. You're conservative. They weren't. Democrats today aren't Democrats.
No.
Okay, that's just they're socialists.
Yep.
They're communists. For the most part. I don't like when quote unquote Republicans group all Democrats together, and I don't like how Democrats group all Republicans together. And this is where I don't like the whole red versus blue. Me and you can go on a whole like 3 hours on this.
Yeah.
But I don't like going through all that. I think, people play into the division. They play the game.
Yep.
Okay, me and you, we're both independents, right? Like, I don't even put a label on myself. I've called myself a constitutionalist. I've called myself an American libertarian. So there's all sorts of kinds of libertarians, which is messed up. But I don't like labels.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna try and preach to me about, Democrats for this and that, or the party never switched. They're the party of the KKK. First off, the Democratic Party never actually created the KKK. I can't stand that because Republicans use that as a talking point till the day is long. It's boring. It's stupid, and anybody doesn't realize. Okay, Bedford Forest was not a grand wizard of the KKK. Okay, the party infiltrated it sometime after. Okay, it was and what it became to be was an evil force for the party later on.
Yeah, it was the communists who infiltrated here.
Exactly. It was just like anything else how the founding fathers were infiltrated by the Illuminati, right?
Yeah, because Albert Pike, even though he's not he's one of the backbones of the KKK, even though he's not the founder or nothing, but anybody knows anything about Albert Pike, the guy was like literally Illuminati and the communists, pure communists as they come.
Right. And what's sad is that, he fought for the South.
Yep.
And, anybody asks me, I understand the South had their right to fight and all that. That's a whole nother historical thing, we could get into. People don't like to hear it, and there's a lot of people that fought for in the colonies and in the Revolution that were, part of the Illuminati, but some, a lot of them wanted personal liberties, and the freedoms that we didn't have in England and whatnot. But there was also a lot of people that, one could say that were just out to destroy England and that whole side of Christianity, that they were just trying to, it was kind of like the whole beginnings of destroying Europe, right? Because we see how, what happened in World War One and World War Two. It was really just to set out to destroy Christian Europe.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at it today, and it's like, yeah, and a lot of, it goes back to, Christians being prosecuted and killed and attacked and pushed out. Much of the South was Christian.
Yep.
And what have they been doing? They've been tearing down statues. They've been I don't want to get into the whole slavery thing.
Yeah.
North had slavery.
Yep.
Everybody was, blacks owned blacks, Indians owned blacks, blacks owned Indians. We, as far as the United States government, we allowed slavery of Chinese out west. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I don't want to get into a whole slavery thing, but it was good-hearted people that called themselves Democrats. They were just conservatives.
Yeah.
The party switched at some point, but JFK was. I don't like it when people say, "Why he'd be a Republican today." No, he's. You can't say that because you can't look at 2025 and look at 1963.
Yeah.
All right, first off, that is a huge mistake. I think it was BS. JFK was what he was. He was a. It kind of brings me to tears a little bit because to me, when he died is when our country died, and I feel that he was doing his was he perfect? No, he had his issues. Was he a womanizer? I mean, I don't really know, but
yeah,
at the
and
same
we all
time,
have things we did.
We all have our issues,
especially when you're young.
But,
I mean, like JFK was young. You know what I mean? And if he's got the hottest girls in the world, then I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying like I wouldn't do it or whatever, but I mean, like Marilyn Monroe at the time, she was like, you know what I mean? Everybody looked at her as like one of the most beautiful women. You know what I mean? So who knows? You know what I mean? And,
he had a lot of influence.
Yeah,
he had a lot around him, but you know what? If anybody were to just take the time and go into that the JFK museum up in Boston, anytime you visit, I mean, I'm not going to Boston anytime soon, but I've been there, I've seen it, and some of the stuff that he was trying to do behind closed doors of trying to attack the I guess what you would call the deep state. He understood a lot of what was going on. He was up against, look at the enemies that he was up against. He was up against Israel. He was up against his own departments. He was up against the mob. He was up against, everybody who had their own interest. This dude was attacked from all sides, and they got to him. And when that happened is when, I guess, for lack of a better term, the deep state completely took over. I mean, LBJ went immediately full-fledged into Vietnam for BS reasons. You know that. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. The attack on USS Liberty, seemingly everybody wants to forget because we're just buddies with Israel. The government knew that. It's on recording. They told them to stand down when ships were trying to get to the USS Liberty for assistance. That's all on recording.
Yeah.
And yet when we just let it slide, I mean, come on, people. Like, everything just, it went to hell.
Yep.
You saw the drugs pour into the cities in the 60s, all this, the psychedelics. You want to talk about, what's that, MK Ultra being pushed to the extreme now. That's what we're really up against.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see it come to light more and more about MK Ultra. Now people are actually starting to talk about it, like, hey, it's actually not a tinfoil topic. Yeah, dude, like, it's real. We've been trying to tell you. We've been trying to tell you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it just, like, weather modification, that's been going on since the late 30s and 40s. Oh, you can't create a hurricane. You can't force a storm to go this way, that. Really? Because that's what we were doing in the 30s and 40s. Like, behind closed doors. All you got to do is take 2 minutes to research it. It's right there. Like everything that we were going up against. The whole tax thing. You talk about, like, we don't want a federal income tax. We shouldn't even have it. well, the government has to be funded somehow. Do you realize we're still waiting for World War II to end so that we don't have federal income tax anymore? It was supposed to be temporary, and even that was garbage. But no, people lax, and they continue the federal income tax.
Yep.
The Federal Reserve shouldn't be a thing. I mean, it's funny how, I don't know, a ship sinks in 1912, and the people that were going against the Federal Reserve Act and everything else, who didn't want it, magically were on that fucking ship that just sunk. Like,
the Titanic, yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I was looking into that too, and all the people. Then there was other people like bankers who were supposed to be on there, and they end up not going at the last minute. You know what I mean? Certain bankers and all that, and the people who are against it, they happen to be on the ship. And some say too that wasn't even the real Titanic. It was the twin of it. Yeah, that one. They're saying that they were able to swap the nameplate when the ship was in dry dock. In like 1911 or just before it launched. I don't know that the name swapping. I don't know because I don't know what to believe when we say, oh yeah, no, we were able to determine like the ship was actually the Titanic. I don't know who to really believe on that one. For all I know, that's certainly possible because nobody had handheld cameras back then. You know what I mean? Like certainly possible, and I'm not going to believe the government on that. But it is funny how a lot of people on that ship, went down with it that were up against a lot of the things coming from 1913 and 1914. We should do a whole show on that someday, the Titanic's conspiracy. That'd be pretty cool. Dude, that was the whole thing, and it just led to the whole taxes now, the central bank. Like the whole 1913 and 1914. The IRS and the central bank were created. So we should do a show on that sometime, and because the guy here wants to call in, and after that I'm gonna call it a night. So sorry about that. It's all right. I know me and you could talk for hours. So. Yeah, man. Anytime on a Saturday night, whatever, just let me know. Yeah, we should do the whole Federal Reserve, the Titanic thing. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, we can definitely tie it into today. I don't know if I'm gonna do. I gotta check it out, but like I said, I'm probably not gonna do every Saturday night, but at least 2 or 3 Saturdays. Especially in the winter. Yeah, so maybe next Saturday of the week or the one after. I'll let you know, and we'll do that if you want. Yeah, we can plan something, man. We can plan something. All right. It doesn't have to be right away. You know me. You got my number. You can call me anytime. You too, brother. All right. Love you, man, and God bless you. Yeah, love you guys, and wish the family well, and talk to you soon. All right, buddy? You too, bro. All right, God bless. God bless. So, yeah, Bullwinkle, you can call in now. Yeah, my buddy Daniel, he's from Rhode Island here. Me and him, we used to hang out all the time and sit at the campfire, talk for hours about this stuff. You know what I mean? Very smart guy. He ran for Congress in Rhode Island and as an independent. But, yeah, we've been to all kinds of rallies and in the State House and everything else. Going for gun rights, pro-life, things like that. And we're always politically involved, you know what I mean? And going to town halls and all that stuff. And so he's a very educated guy, you know what I mean? And, he ended up going over the wall here in Rhode Island and moving to Florida. You know what I mean? Lucky guy. You know what I mean? If I was single, I would be in Florida right now. I really would. But we got ties up here, you know what I mean? And all that stuff. So it's not easy just if you're in the family. I mean, you can't just jump ship. I wish I could, but 681, you're on the air. How you doing, brother? Hey, this is Yahushua Saves. Remember that? Oh yeah. I don't know why they changed my key on there, but that's my old email. Oh, they changed it to Bullwinkle? Yeah, that's the email that I use. I don't know why they did that. YouTube did a new thing because I had to sign up for a screen name for the chat. So I guess you could have different names. I don't know why it changed it. That's weird. How you been? Oh, pretty good. It's been a while. You do remember me, don't you? Calling in a couple times from West Virginia. Oh yeah. Well, Yeshua saves. Yeah, well, I'm from West Virginia. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. I was the Marine, I think I remember telling you before. Yeah, from down here. Yeah, I've listened to a long time. I didn't know if you remember me or not. I listened
to David and them since 16. So it was shortly after that I believe I got on to you. Wasn't very long.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's a
seen your
long
comments.
time, but
So
yeah,
it's like
it's
talk about
crazy,
being-
man. Their country, it's
Yeah.
As a jarhead, it's hard to watch. It really is.
Yeah, especially you. I mean, you served in the military, and like, yeah, I mean, you served to protect, try to protect the rights and everything, and now you got these people, peeing all over the Constitution, and
Damn communists trying to take over.
Yeah.
Yep. It's crazy. It is though, but it's insane. That's what they do. They infiltrate an area and break it down. It's like a cancer, and it eats from the inside. There goes your rights.
Yep.
And before you know it, you're in jail for thought crimes, for praying. Yeah. Look at Europe. It's just insane.
That's what
Come
over
there
the years
short soon.
they know they can't do it overnight, so they push by increments, and that's how they get
Yeah.
in. And then people say at the time, I give them a little inch, then another inch, and all of a sudden, with these people that they're evil like parasites, you can't give them 1 inch at all. You need to squash these people out of existence. The communists, because one little inch
yeah.
they get in, they got the revenge on you.
Yeah, yeah, and they took over our education system
Yep.
early on. Probably in the 40s, they were just eating it up.
Yep.
Operation
God out of
Paperclip
school.
helped a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kick God out of school, kick civics out of school, all the the values of the Constitution and God going out of schools.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and then like he said, Kennedy, once they knocked him off, he was warning them about secret societies in the federal government at the time too.
Yeah.
How FBI is basically a ritual.
Yeah, man, and him and Bobby at the time, they're the two good apples on that tree, the Kennedy tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he had a big
They were
speech
trying to
about
expose
secret societies, like not too long before he died, about how he's opposed to secret societies and all that. And shortly after that, that's when he knocked him off.
Yeah, that was his last speech after he landed there. He gave a speech. It wasn't very long after he landed, but he was telling about secret societies then, and that's but there's a lot to Texas, and we ain't seen the end of that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the only state in the nation that can legally pull away and call themselves their own country,
Yep.
really, legally. They have a clause written in their Constitution for them to do that. It's the only state, though.
Yep. Yeah,
The Lone
28
Star
states in this
State.
country have constitutional carry now. Again, over half the country now is going constitutional carry, which makes sense. And I hope the Supreme Court finally comes through for us. Because I guess they're having council this next week coming up on first of all the assault weapons ban and the magazine ban. So our state Rhode Island in that case too. So and they have
I think
council.
braces are ridiculous too.
Yeah. So I hope they said within the next 4 to 5 months, maybe 6, they should have a complete ruling. So basically, if they come out with the ruling, the states won't be able to ban those things no more.
I mean, for people that have, I've got a screw in my right wrist, and that's my shooting hand. I'd love to go shoot my 460, but I got to wrap my hand, pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Just to even hold the dang thing. And, but in order to, if I had a brace for that thing or something that I could help, I'd definitely get it because those, but we do have bear here, and that's what it's a good gun for.
Yeah.
You can bring a bear down with them, or buffalo, or elephant.
Yeah, I got a 500 Magnum, the Performance Center.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun.
I just got recently, not too long ago, 357 Magnum Smith & Wesson, then a Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum, the Model 29.
Yeah, I got a 44 too. Yeah,
the Dirty Harry one.
I was trying to get the set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in the, I forget what it is.
Yeah, I love
but
my
yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, and was it under? Was it Reagan when the Brady bill took guns away from campuses and stuff.
Yeah.
And deemed all federal buildings a gun-free zone. And once they started that gun-free zone, that's your first target. I mean, that's a crazy person's target range. Period.
Yep.
Wherever a gun-free zone is, at the 20-minute target range.
Yep.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the honest God's truth.
Yep.
It's sad. I mean, because nobody around, unless they're hired a PD for like a ball game or something, is there, or like at we have troopers at our WVU games and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, I mean, they're not going to stop anything major. I mean, not quick. No, but like we were talking in chat, I used to go to biker church up here, and the biker church, everybody, even the pastor, had a Glock on his side. Yeah, it's the way it should be. It's the safest church around.
You know, it's funny. I went out to Rhode Island way. We got strict restrictions. So you have to pull teeth to get a permit. Yeah, I went out to Kentucky for the conference there, and last year I went out to Indiana. We drove through Indiana through Kentucky into Tennessee for a meet and greet, and all 3 states I carry my gun. And you go into the restaurants, everybody's carrying. The buffet too, the Golden Corral buffet, everybody was packing, and I'm like, wow, nobody's gonna come in and shoot. You go into Walmart, people are carrying, the guy's on his little 4-wheeler, he's got his AR in his back. I'm like, this is awesome, and nobody's gonna go in that shoot the place up,
That's right. Yeah, you're here in the Appalachian Mountains. Yeah, they're kind of like that. They like their weapons, and they're like their freedom.
I was talking to a sheriff down there, and I was telling him everything in Rhode Island. He goes, "Oh man, I feel bad for you. You got to move out here." And he yelled at my friend because he told me you got one in the chamber. He goes, "No." It's like I don't feel safe. He goes, "Rack that damn thing and put one in the chamber. You only got split seconds." I'm like, wow, these guys are awesome. It's like it felt like freedom. Cool. Like just pure liberty and freedom.
I gotta shake your hand.
Yeah. And the cops are cool too. When they pull somebody over, they don't interrogate everybody in the car like they do here. They just go to the driver, tell them what's wrong. And that's it. They don't ask you where you're going, where you come from, and like they hear around. They ask everybody in the car. Well, they're not supposed to, but they do anyway. Where you going? Where you coming from? What are you doing? It's like, I'm the driver. You don't have to talk to them. Whatever the case. You know what I mean? So and those cops are great. You know what I mean? And good people up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rhode Island. I have never got a chance to go up that far, but I'd like to.
The state police ain't bad, but sometimes the city cops, they get a little, like, I don't know, they got nothing better else to do, I'm not anti-cop or anything, but some cops are really jerks.
Yeah. Yeah, where I like to ride and stuff, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I try to keep everything legal as I can.
Yeah.
But, other than that, it's just, it's dangerous to ride around here too. I mean, we get people ran over all the time. I used to keep I was in a bike club with the Marine Corps patch and everything, and we had 7 or 8 of them that got ran over up there around your area, I think. So I mean, that's not one of the reasons I quit riding with the patch. It's just I just gave that kind of life up. I don't want to have to.
Yeah, sometimes they're good. Like when I got pulled over because my brake light was out, and I told the officer right away, I say, "Listen, I got a firearm on the seat here, and you need to see any papers." And, no, you're all set. I just want to let you know. He goes, "What do you got?" I said, 357. He goes, "Oh wow." He goes, "Can I see it?" I show him the case. He opened it up. He goes, "Oh man," he says, "This is nice." He goes, "Yeah, good luck with it, man. I just want to let you know your brake light was out." But they're pretty cool. But it's the city cops sometimes they give you problems. But the state police are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the phone call, brother, and I appreciate you.
West Virginia has concealed carry. Anybody can conceal legally here.
Yep.
It don't matter. Grandma, anybody can pocket it without a license.
My Uncle David lives in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah?
Floyd City, but
whereabouts?
I know he's carrying over there. He's from Rhode Island, but he's staying with his niece's husband,
Yeah, you got to carry. I
Yeah.
mean, in order to be safe and,
Yep.
and protect others as well too.
Yeah. I'm fighting right now I applied for a permit. I used to have one. I applied for a permit. It's like pulling teeth though, yeah. Clean background, TSA
Right.
background and all that. And I
Yeah.
told the chief, the appeal, it's like, dude, it's like I went to 3 states carrying a firearm. I had a permit here and went out for 4 years. Why am I having a problem though? You know, it's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. That don't sound right. No.
Yeah.
All right, brothers. Thank you. And
You too.
And God bless, man. Yeah.
God bless you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. So I want to give you guys a preview before you go. We're going to do one of the biblical warfares on this. But I know it's off the topic of guns and stuff today, but it's like more biblical and about love, literally. So I just want to see what you guys think here before we go. So, yeah. So I want you this is going to be funny, but like really think about this for a minute. This was a while it was like on my mind. It's like, you know what I mean? Like when I was holding a cat, you know, I love animals. I mean, and then you hold a baby, then you hold your wife, right? If you notice, right, there's different kinds of loves. And I never really contemplated that before, right? Then when you think about God and Jesus, there's a different kind of love than you have for your wife, than your son or animal, right? So if you look at these pictures there, right, if you really look at them, right, and if you like a cat or a kitten or a puppy or both, whatever, you feel a love for it, right? But it's not the same love as a baby. I'm going to cover this probably next week. And it's not the same love for a baby. It's a whole different kind of love, right? You're holding the baby. It's just completely different. Then your spouse, right? Completely different from a kid. Completely different from puppies. You know what I'm saying? And then with God, it's completely different from all the rest, too. So I don't know if this is making sense to you. So, like, try to picture that, right? Just picture, like, holding a kid, you know, if you like cats and dogs or whatever, holding, you know, that love you feel for that, right? And then you're playing with a kid or holding a baby, you feel that love for the children, you know what I'm saying? But it's different. It's not the same. I'm not saying it's better or less than each one. I'm not saying that. If you love that better or less, I'm not talking about that. But the different categories I'm talking about, like an animal, right? You feel a love for the animal. But it's not the same love you feel for a child or in a baby, you know what I mean? And that's not the same love you feel for your spouse. And with God, none of those compare to God, you know what I mean? It's completely different. So I'm trying to narrow it down in the best way possible, but I want to do a show on that, biblical warfare on that. And because then it goes to God, right? How do you think God feels? Like about insects, the trees, everything he's created. He's got a love for them. Like probably, we don't know. You know what I mean? It could be a different love. You know, again, I'm not saying he loves this or that better than the other one. No. I'm saying like it's a different kind of love. You know what I mean? So, and again, if you could picture that, you know what I'm talking about. Like you probably say, what the heck is he talking about? Love is love. No, love ain't love. You know what I mean? It's different. There's different levels of it. There's different feelings of it. You know what I mean? In other words, like like I'm a guy, right? So the love I have when I'm with my wife, right? It's you know, and you shouldn't. And if you do, you probably should be committed or arrested. But if you had the same love for your wife as you did your children, yeah, there's a big problem with that. All right, and because that kind of love is love too with your wife, but you know. The sexual stuff comes with it. It's like part of the whole game of love with your wife. A kid, you shouldn't be feeling that. If you do, you should be shot in the face. But a kid, you feel like love, like the kids are playful and just cute. You know what I mean? And you feel that it's different from with your spouse. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're playing with an animal, like a puppy or a dog or whatever, and you're playing around with the animals, and it's different from with the kid. Then when you pray to the Lord and really feel the Holy Spirit, it's a whole different love than anything else. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to really work on for this week here, for this biblical warfare on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then Friday, we got Spiritual Warfare Friday, which we're going to work on. It's going to be a good show again. We talk about the CIA with the mind control of the super soldiers. We're going to bring that up because we did a show on the Nazis, whatever the case, the Nazi Germany discover alien technology, you know what I mean? But part of the Nazi Germans coming over here, they experiment with the same kind of stuff, you know what I mean? They're trying to develop a super soldier. We're going to do that show this coming Friday, I think. And 2 weeks ago, we had that talk about the Nazis with the alien technology and all that. So they came here through the Operation Paperclip, and from the SS to the OSS to eventually to the CIA, and they brought the same kind of tactics here. And back in the early 1900s, the German Nazi scientists, they were working on super soldiers. And now today we got DARPA and the CIA working on the same thing. And I think they've already done it. That technology is far advanced now, but it's Nazi technology, which goes back to the fallen angel technology. So to animate a body, and I'm not saying it's the person, whatever, but you had DARPA also talk about taking out the God gene. There's a they call it the God gene because in your head there's a what's that in your brain? Oh man, I gotta get the stuff up. But yeah, there's a gland. A gland in your brain. They said if you remove it, you don't feel no consciousness care. That's why they call it the God gene, because that's where you feel love, care, and all that stuff like that, and consciousness and all that. They said if they remove it, a soldier could shoot a bunch of babies in the face and wouldn't even drop a tear. You know what I mean? So that's what they want. They want to build these race of soldiers that, if the government tells them go do whatever, they're going to do it with no questions asked. And plus with the enhancements with man-machine and all this other stuff they got going on, they'll turn you into a literal robot. You know what I mean? They got these advanced technologies now that they can make a soldier run faster and stay active longer. You know what I mean? And it's sometimes through machines, sometimes it's biological too. You know what I mean? They can control the nerves and all that. But they've been working on it since the 1900s, the Nazi German scientists. And they brought it over here, and they got the stuff going on here in America. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's really crazy stuff. I want to talk about that. And it goes into Operation Stargate too with the CIA. It's funny, anytime me and Brian did a show and there's all kinds of wacky stuff happened. When he talked about Project Stargate with the CIA, it's where they recruited all kinds of people, psychics and everything else. And yeah, we got all the documents and everything. It's really bizarre stuff, man. And what they'll do is, here's how the CIA works. They'll start a program. And then when the public starts getting wind of this program, what they'll do is they'll end the program. To say, oh, we just did research about it, but we ended it. But what they don't tell the public they'll end it for the PR sake. They'll take their research and start another project. And when people get wind of that, they'll end it right away and start another one. So they can play plausible deniability. Oh, no, we did that, but it was just an experiment. We ended it. It's done and over. But we just put it into another project. You know what I mean? And it keeps going like that. That's how they operate. So they've been, the Black Awakening, right, with Rustizar. Yeah, they got these people out there, man, and they call sleeper cells. They could be activated in no time. And these people have no clue. The people who are under these active cells, man, they have sleeper cells, they have no clue at all. They forget completely everything they've been trained, how to kill, how to use weapons, to be like a Terminator. Then when they're programmed, right, they program them and they go back into society. So in their mind, they were milkmen all their life, or a secretary or whatever. Like, no knowledge at all. They've been through these CIA programs. Trained like Rambo, so to speak, right? A mercenary and everything else, how to kill with precision. They'll forget all that. They completely wipe memories erased. So when they're activated, that's what they call sleeper cells. They'll be activated by a code word or something that the CIA would do, and boom, all of a sudden, it's not them no more. So you think you're John Smith, you live in Toledo, Ohio, whatever, right? And you're a milkman, you've been doing it for 40 years, right? But you haven't been doing it for 4 years. And so in your mind, you think you did, you know what I mean? Because that's how they program you to be. But you have no conscious or recollection of what you've been trained with. They'll bring you into these underground bases, the DUMBs they call it, deep underground military bases, and train you with the stuff. It's all mind control, MK Ultra. It's all mixed together. Then you have the psychics, right, or the people who have these so-called demonic psychic abilities. That's what it is. The government will use you. You know what I mean? And they use people for clairvoyance mainly, and the people who could also levitate things and everything. But yeah, all kinds of stuff. We gotta go through it and how it all connects with each other, because their goal is to build a godless super soldier. So if they tell you, we want you to go in there and wipe out 35 kids, they're gonna go in there and wipe out 35 kids without even shedding a tear. And what's his name? Bill, that was his name. Oh man, with the roller behold a white horse there. I keep forgetting his name, man. It's like he was before Alex Jones. Let me see. Bill Cooper. All right, yeah, I can't believe I forgot his name. All right, so William Cooper, right? He was a former U.S. Naval Intelligence officer, and they call him a conspiracy theorist, right? He was before Alex Jones and everybody else. He wrote a book called "The Behold the White Horse," a Pale Horse. I'm sorry. So let me put that on the screen. He wrote a book called "Behold the Pale Horse." And in this book, he talked about mind control and everything else. And within the book, right, this is before any of these shootings started. So he said the CIA, they're going to use mind control on people with these sleeper cells to go in and shoot up schools and blame gun rights for it. It was their way to take gun rights away. And they stage these things. They either stage them or they set up the shooter to go do it under mind control. And half the time with these guns, I should have brought this up earlier, all these mass shooters, right? What do they all have in common? Every one of them. They were under psychotropic drugs, right? They had some kind of a knowledge of something, communications with the FBI. And the same thing in Providence here, going to come to find out the same thing. And now they changed the narrative a little bit. They're starting to use like people who are transgenders and all that now. But all these people have the same thing, mental issues, and they're on psychotropic drugs, and some kind of knowledge or help somehow, somewhere with the FBI or the feds. Bill Cooper warned us about that. He said, because he was in the U.S. intelligence, they knew what they were going to do. And he said back then, he said they're going to shoot schools up and blame gun rights for it. And sure enough, what's going on now? They're shooting schools up and blaming gun rights. So, thank you, Bill O'Connell. Bill Cooper, yeah. Yeah, so, man, this all plays in the whole same thing, yeah. And, yeah, they write the narrative what happens. So what happens, like, when a shooting first starts, more, like, 90% of the time, it's a mass shooting, the people who were there to see it, they report 2 or 3 people. Like the Colorado movie theater shooter, right? They said it was 2 people shot the place up. It got filtered through the media, 1 person. San Diego, 2 people. There was a missing man report and all that. It got down to 1 little kid, which is impossible for them to even pull that off, right? Then all these mass shootings, the same thing. It's multiple shooters got down to a lone wolf. And who they want to be the scapegoat, you know what I mean? And most of the time they kill themselves. So they have a lot in common with these mass shooters. But we're gonna cover all this, next week. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like what the CIA is doing, and CIA. I don't care if it's the Trump administration or the Bush or the Obama or Clinton or whoever. The CIA is still the same evil CIA. There's no good CIA. There's good people work there, yeah, but the CIA itself, it's evil, plain and simple. It's not literally Nazi rat line. That's what it is. So we're going to get into that next week on Friday, Spiritual Warfare Friday. And we might be back here Saturday night. More than likely we will, because I love doing the show at this time. So the only thing would prevent that if my wife wants to do something. Once in a while, we don't go out late anymore anyway, at least in the winter. In the summer, we'll go out to the ocean and whatever the case. But, yeah, so I think we'll most likely be back here next Saturday. So at least 2-3 times a month, we'll be on Saturdays. So, all right, guys, so thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the donations. And if you want to help out our ministry, guys, we got a donation page in the chat room and also in the description of the video. And helps us out a lot. And, humbly thank you guys. You guys are the best. And for believing in this product, his show, this broadcast, I should say, and this ministry and everything else, and helping us with your prayers and your donations and your support, like, sharing, and subscribing and all that. And Bill O'Connell and Joanne, too. Thank you guys for, you dedicated work, monitoring the chat room, promoting the broadcast and everything else. And I know people reach out, it's like, well, can I do something for you? Yeah, the biggest thing you could do for me, guys, is just promote this, like, share it. That's it. You know what I mean? And if you want to load these shows on your channel, you do not need my permission. And if I get a flag from YouTube, I'll let them know I gave you permission. So any of my content, that's mine, documentaries, any of the shows, or even part of the shows, right? You have my full permission to. I don't have copyrights on nothing. I don't believe in that. So you have my full permission to use my broadcast on your programs. You know what I mean? So we cover a wide variety of things, man, on this broadcast. From politics to civics to biblical stuff, conspiracies, what people call it, exposing secret societies and all that. So we're all over the place. We're a mix of Alex Jones and Coast to Coast, but with the biblical point of view, if you want to put it that way. So thank you guys and everybody, and thank you so much. So we'll see you Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern on Biblical Warfare. Then back here Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern on Spiritual Warfare Friday. Then back here Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. So we are live 3 nights in a row. So love you all. God bless. Shalom. And you are the resistance.
The Last Outpost, Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern.